Today we're going to make this easy plasticine earth craft. You can also use Play-Doh. So here's our little craft, and to make this craft you are going to need some plasticine. So I've got green, I have blue, I have a little bit of white, a little bit of red, and a little bit of black. In order to make your earth, you have to decide how much plasticine you want, which means how big your earth is going to be. I'm going to get rid of some of this. I got this from the dollar store. So I'm going to take about 3/4 of this and I'm going to roll it between my hands. I'm just rubbing it. That's going to warm up the plasticine and make it easy to work with. Now your earth can be bigger or smaller than this. It doesn't matter. Just roll it in between your hands and you're making a sphere. So you're making a ball. You can see the blue gets right onto your hands, and that's okay. We can get rid of that later. So roll, roll, roll until you have a nice smooth sphere. And if you need to, just keep rolling. So you can see I keep rolling and rolling. I'm checking it just to make sure it looks like a ball or a sphere. And when I'm happy with it, it looks like a ball or it looks like a sphere, my 3D object. Then I'm going to take my green. Now, here you're going to see I have the blue. Remember I mentioned on my hands. If you want to, you can go wash that off. You don't have to, but it might get onto your green, so just be careful. Here I'm taking a little bit of green. You can see I don't need a lot, and you can see I have tape on my fingers here, so sorry about that. I injured them. I'm going to take my green, and I'm just going to roll that. Now, the heat of my hands is going to help make this plasticine easier to work with. Once I've rolled it, I just want to pick off little pieces. You do not need a lot, so this is a very small amount of plasticine, and I'm just picking off a few pieces. I'm going to take one of the pieces and roll it. I'm using just one finger because it's a small amount of plasticine. I'm going to roll it into another little mini sphere, like a mini ball, and then I'm going to squish it down. So all you do is push. It's kind of satisfying. You get to squish. So I'm pushing it, squishing it down so it's really flat, and then I'm putting it right over top of my blue sphere, my blue earth. I'm just going to push it down. Now you don't want it to be really, really thick. It's going to be pretty flat. Then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to roll, roll, roll. I'm using one finger because it's such a small amount. Roll it into a sphere, and then I'm squishing it down. Now when I squish it down, I'm just kind of pulling and squishing just to make a random shape. This is going to go on another part of my sphere, so I'm moving it over. You can see the blue is the water and the green is the land, so that's why I'm not making any particular shapes. I'm just rolling and then squishing down and placing them right on the blue. And then I'm just going to roll the whole thing. So once I'm done, I'm going to roll, roll, roll the whole thing again. And you know what? I think I'm going to add a little bit more. So you decide if you want to add more or if you like it the way that it is. When you do like it, you just keep rolling, 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 rolling the whole thing until it's all nice and squished down. When you're done that and you like it, remember the blue and the green that might be on your hands. If you need to, go wash them because you don't want any white turning blue or green. I think mine are fine, so I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to grab a tiny little bit of white and I'm making that sphere again. So I'm making a tiny little ball. I'm just rolling, rolling, rolling. And I'm going to cut this in half again. This is going to be for one of our eyes, and you need a very, very little bit. So you just need a tiny little bit. You roll it into a sphere, you squish it on your finger because you want it to be flat, and it's going to be a circle. I'm going to put it over to see if I like it before I squish it down on my earth. And I think it's too big, so I'm going to pull a little bit off. You have to decide what size you want, and I want mine to be fairly small. So I'm going to roll, roll, roll again. So you can see it's a very small amount. I'm going to push down with my fingers so I make a circle. When we were using the green, we didn't really quite have a circle, but this one we want it to be a circle. And then I'm going to push it right down. I'm happy with it, so I'll push it right down on my earth. And guess what? We're doing that again because we need another eye. So I'm grabbing some more white, rolling it around again to make that sphere, pushing it down to flatten it to make a circle. I want it to be about the same shape as my last, or same size, sorry, as my last one. And then when I'm happy with it, I will push that down, and I have my two little eyes, and I'm going to do the pupils now. So I'm using the black. Now, this is really tricky because you need a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit. So I'm taking a tiny, tiny little bit. It's almost hard to work with. It's so small. I roll it into a sphere, and see, I'm even cutting that in half. I only need a little bit. And I'm going to push down so it's flat. Put that right inside my white. So there I have my little pupil. And I'm going to do that again, trying to get the same size, rolling, squishing it down, putting it right side. Oops, I have to fix this one. So if you ever make a mistake, the best part is you can just pull it right off and fix it. It's no problem. Just fix it so you like it. I'm going to place that back on. There we go. Now I need some red. You only need a little bit of red, just a little bit. Again, just a tiny bit goes a long way. I'm going to roll it into a sphere again, so into a circle. And then I'm going to squish it down almost into like a little hot dog, so a cylinder. This is going to be my little smile. So I have my little cylinder. I'm going to push it down, and then with my fingers, I'm just going to curve it around so it looks like a happy smile. The earth is very happy. When I'm happy with that, I'm actually going to push it down so it's flat. So every time I'm doing this, I'm pushing it down so that it is nice and flat. And when I am happy with it, just be careful. There you go. You don't want to push too much on the earth. I will have my cute little plasticine earth craft. And now it's time to go wash my hands. Thanks for joining me on Craft Club for Kids. Remember, be creative and have fun.